So, very good evening, everyone. So, is my voice audible to everyone there? Yeah. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Very good evening, everyone. Welcome to DOL. Here we are with the first technical training session. So I don't know from which streams you are basically from. You might be from the computer stream, you might be from information stream, you might be from telecommunication or mechanical, electrical, electronics, or civil, any branch you are from. I'm not aware about that. Taking into the consideration that every one of you are here with only one perspective that you have to get a job. Okay, you are here with only one perspective that you have to get a job. Okay, so guys, the thing that I'm trying to tell you here is that whenever you are in the technical training, the first thing that you have to do is you have to have 100% attendance, attention towards what you're learning. Okay, so that is very, very important here. So am I completely clear on that perspective, everyone? Yes, people. So I'm sorry, there was a small technical glitch over there. So in today's session, as I was actually mentioning, that it's very important for us to know that the technical aspects of it, because whenever you are jumping onto any of the company's interview for a technical profile, it's very much important that you are well versed in at least the basics of things. So when I talk about basics, so it means that I'm some of the things like variables, operators, arrays, strings, linked list, queues, like this, various different topics will come into picture there. Okay. So when I talk about these various different topics, yes, it is very much important that you should be knowing about these topics. Okay. So in today's session, I will be taking a walkthrough of various different aspects of them. So I would consider that every single person available here is from a very basic perspective, like every one of you here are starting from the scratch is what I would be considering here as. Okay, so the things that we would be covering in today's session happens to be some of the basic aspects, like the concept of variables, the concept of variables, the concept of incrementation, data types. Yes, very much important, data types. So then I would be taking up the concept called as incrementation and the decrementation, and I would be helping you out with loops and conditional statements. So these are the five topics that we would be discussing in today's session. So I hope everybody are clear as what we would be learning in today's session. Yes or no, people? Great. So can I get a response from everyone there, guys? Great. So be active on the chat box. I would be quite often visiting the chat box. If you have any queries, directly drop the message on the chat box. I will go through them. Okay. So now let's quickly begin off with the learning here, people. So the first point that we need to discuss is, well, before I start off with variables, what I'll do is first let's understand the data types. Guys, what do you mean by data types? What's the term data type is all about? So we would be starting off with our learning with the concept of data types. Data. So what do you know about the term data types? Okay, first of all, tell me, what do you mean by data? What is a data? What is a data, guys? What is a data? Data means information. Perfect. Yes, data is a information. Data is a information. Okay. Now, in order to represent this information, we need some type. Okay. We have various different datas. Okay. For example, phone number is a data. Correct. Followed by name is a data. Correct. Followed by your height is a data. Correct. Your percentage is a data. Your engineering percentage happens to be a data. Next, there are various things. A salary is again a data. You have address, which is again a data. Next, you have something called as gender, either male, M or F. That is again a data. So I'm just naming few of them here. Whenever you are specifying all these things, okay, so you need to represent this using some of the types. Phone number is what? It is a collection of numbers. So I will tell it as integer. Integer. So in other words, I will tell it as integer type data. So name is what? It is a set of characters. So I will tell it as character type data. Character type data. So percentage, it is in terms of decimal. So I will tell it as real number type data. Real number type data. Now when it comes to height, again height is also one of the real number type data itself. Because you will not be telling height as 1, 2, 3, 4. No, you'll be telling it as 1, 5.5, 5.6, 6.1, 6.3. That is what your height will be. Salary is again integer type data. So address is what? Series of characters. Again, it is a character type data. Gender is what? Male and female. Again, it is character type data. So if you see here, the common types of data that we use in our real day-to-day life. Okay, so that is what is having certain representations here. So what is a data type? Data type refers to the mode through which a data can be represented. A mode through which a data can be represented is what we call it as type, or we can even tell it as the type through which a data can be represented, or we can even tell it as the type to which the data belongs to is what we can tell it as. Okay, so I hope you got the clarity about what is this data and what is this data types. Am I clear on this, everyone? Yes, everyone, is it clear? Excellent, excellent, people. So now let's proceed ahead with the things. So now we are having all these types of data available. But in technicality, what are the different types of data that we have? So the first category that comes under is something called as integer type data, or integer type real world data. So what is this integer type real world data? So whatever we are dealing with numbers, in fact, the whole numbers, those whole numbers belong to integer type real world data. I can tell it as the whole numbers. Whole numbers. I guess in your aptitude, you would have learned more about this whole numbers. Okay. So whole numbers means, what does it mean? It just means that we are not going to deal with any of the decimal part. We are just going to deal with the exact numeric value, not the variable numeric value. Got it? So in order to represent integer type real world data, in any of the programming language, there are various different things. Now I would be giving you a clarity with respect to Java programming. Okay, with respect to Java, what are the different ways in which you can represent integer type real world data? So the first way in which you can represent is byte. Byte is one way in which you can represent. Byte will actually give you 1 byte of memory, which is equivalent to 8 bits of memory, which is equivalent to 8 bits of memory. Okay, so in similar way, we have something called as short. Short will give you how many bytes of memory? 2 bytes of memory. 2 bytes of memory. So 2 bytes is nothing but it is going to be 16 bits. For 1 byte, if it is 8, for 2 bytes, how much it will be? It is going to be 16 bits. Similarly, you have something called as int, for which we are going to have 4 bytes of memory. So which is going to give you, if 2 bytes is 16 bits, what will be 4 bytes? 4 bytes will be 32 bits. It is going to give 32 bits of memory. Similarly, what we have is something called as short. I'm sorry, short is done. It is long. So for long, how many bytes of memory? It is going to be 8 bytes of memory. So 4 bytes is 32. Then what is 8 bytes? It is going to be 64 bits. 64 bits of memory. Now you might have one question coming at the background of your mind stating, why are you talking about bits, bytes and all those stuff here? The reason why I'm talking about bits and bytes and stuffs here is only because any data type that you create, okay, any data type that you are creating, it is going to occupy some memory. Okay, it is going to occupy some space on your system or on your hard disk or on your RAM or any place wherever it belongs to. Okay, it is occupying some space. That space is what I'm going to represent in terms of bits and bytes. Okay, normally you would have heard 1 TB hard disk. What is that? TB? Terabyte. Byte, again you're dealing there with byte. Am I completely clear with this? GB, gigabyte, MB, megabyte. So all these things are what you are dealing in your day-to-day life. Okay, normally you would be asking your parents, I want a computer which is having 8 GB RAM. So what does 8 GB stands for? Have anyone witnessed that? Have anyone checked what does 8 GB actually contain? 8 GB is going to contain how many bytes, how many bits? Have anyone checked that? Yes or no, people? Have anyone checked it? Guys, can anyone tell me how many bits are there in your 8 GB? Or can you tell me how many bytes are there in 8 GB? How many bytes are there in 8 GB? Can anyone tell that? You can Google it. You have Google with you, right? You can Google it. Can you check and tell me how many bytes are there in 8 GB? Yes? 8 into 1024? Really? 8 into 1024? I'm talking about 8 GB. GB, guys. Gigabyte. Gigabyte. Yes. So it will be some decimal, I mean, it will be some numeric value. Okay. So what does it mean is, so it will be to the tens power something, something and all those stuff. So that is what is the size, that is what is the memory that you are going to get there. Okay. So that is the memory that you will be given whenever you are getting 8 GB RAM. Now you just imagine if it is 16 GB. So the amount of memory space that is provided through your RAM will be doubled there. So that is the reason you will always tend to go towards higher memory size. The higher the memory, more is the efficiency of your system. So similarly here, how much ever data that you are giving, that much memory will be consumed. Am I completely clear with this? But whenever you are making a selection of a data type, you should be very cautious because you should ensure that you are not wasting the memory that you have collected. Am I completely clear? Why am I telling this is basically because let me give you some examples for this. So in 8 bits of memory, okay, so 8 bits of memory is equivalent to, okay, byte, I can represent byte like this, 2 to the power, okay, 2 to the power n minus 1, I mean 2 to minus 2 to the power n minus 1 to 2 to the power n minus 1, okay, 2 to the power n minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so this is going to be the minimum value that can be stored inside byte, and this is going to be the maximum value that can be stored inside byte. If so, you are having any technical interviews or if you have any technical aptitudes, this will play a very important role because they will certainly have a question. At least one or two questions will surely be there. They will ask you, what is the minimum size of short, and they will give you some options. What is the minimum size of byte? They will give you some options. So in that time you should apply this formula to calculate the size of each of them. So now what is this n here? The n that I'm writing here basically stands for, the n that I'm writing here basically stands for n equals to number of bits. Number of bits. So how many bits are there in one byte, guys? It is 8 bits. So I'll just bring this down. Okay. So we are going to have how many bits? 8 bits. So 8 bits means if I have to replicate that here, 2 to the power 8 minus 1 to 2 to the power, it is 2 to the power 8 minus 1 minus 1. So it is going to be what? How do you represent it? It is minus 2 to the power 7 to 2 to the power 7 minus 1 minus 1. So that if I have to represent, it is going to be how much? It is minus 128 to 128 minus 1. So which is equivalent to minus 128 to 127. So this is going to be the calculation, or this is going to be the minimum number of value, and this is the maximum value that can be stored inside your byte. Am I completely clear? So minimum value is minus 128, maximum value is 127. Any number between minus 128 to 127 can be easily accommodated inside your byte. Am I completely clear with this, everyone? Yes or no, guys? A quick response in the chat box. Great. So now, can we have a quick example on this? What can be an example where we can store any value which is between minus 128 to 127? So can I tell it as age of a person? I know there are few people, in Himalayas who have the age beyond 140 or 150, but still, normal age of a person is somewhere between this range itself. Am I completely clear with this? Yes, age of a person, can I accommodate within byte? Yes, I can do it. So the same thing with respect to short, if I have to do. Same thing with respect to short, if I have to do. What will be the case? Guys, what will be the case if it is with respect to short? I'll copy and paste the things. So n is how much in case of short? In case of bytes, I'll tell it as n equals to 8 bits. Here, n equals to 16 bits. So it is going to be 16 here, 16 here. It is going to be 15 here, 15 here again. So what will be the answer for this, people? What will be 2 to the power 15 value? Come on, a quick aptitude question, guys. 2 to the power 15. Who can answer me quick? 2 power 15. Exactly. It is minus, the range is minus 32,678 to 32,677. Am I completely, I'm sorry, 678 to 77. This is going to be minus. Am I correct on this point, everyone? 67, 32,670. I'm sorry, 32,000. Guys, can you tell me the correct answer? Some of them are telling minus 32,678. Some of them are telling 32,768. So, can you give me a correct answer for this? Is it 768 or 678? Guys, don't make me to use a calculator. Huh? I'm not that good with aptitude and mathematics here. Abhilash sir and Praveen sir are expert on that. So, yes, quick people, what's the answer for that? 32,768? Yes? Okay, the answer is 32,768 to 32,767. It is not 678, it is 768. So this is going to be the range of your short. So the example for this, I will give it as what a salary of a fresher. Okay, so TCS, TechM, they will be offering you a package somewhere between 3 to 3.54. So that will be the range of the package. So salary, you all are freshers, so that is the salary. Your salary will come within this particular range. Okay, so this is for your short. So now the same thing, if I apply it for int, if I apply it for int, now the n value happens to be what? N value happens to be 32. So here I'll tell it as 32. Here also it is 32. Here it is going to be 31. Here also it's going to be 31. So now guys, can you tell me what is the answer for this? Again, a quick aptitude question. 2 power 31. What's the answer? I'm using my calculator. I hope you are not. Yes, people. Okay, I'll copy the answer from one of your friend. Please confirm me if it's right. So I'll copy this. So is this correct, people? 214748D648 to this particular value. Is this correct? Have everyone received the same answer? Great. Sakib Sheikh, very good question. Why negative value? So whenever you're dealing with numbers, you will even deal with negative numbers, right? You're not only going to deal with the positive numbers, you even deal with the negative numbers also. So that is the reason the ranges starts from the negative to the positive values. Got the clarity? You'll not deal only with the negative numbers. You'll deal even with the positive numbers then. Sakib, I hope you got the clarity. Yes, great. So can anyone give me an example for integer type data? Look at this range. What is this range? So how many digits? 4, 8, 10-digit number it is. So can you give any example for this? Can I tell it as population of India? Population of India. Can we accommodate population of India within this range, guys? I don't think so. We can accommodate population of India in this. Actually, our Indian population is way beyond this particular one. Uh, yes, you can. Can we include phone number? Yes. Whenever you're telling phone number, guys, you need to see the minimum and the maximum values. Maximum value is starting with the number 2. Your phone numbers will not start from 2. It will start from 9. I hope you are clear on that. Yes. So literacy rate, okay, you can have literacy rate within this range. Company revenue, yeah, can also be inside that. So see, you are able to come up with so many different real world datas, which is falling under this particular category. Correct? So that is why we are telling, whenever we are dealing with integer type real world data, it is having various different options available. Okay. So yeah, this is about integer type real world data. So now coming to the next, long. So for long, n value is how much? N equals how much? 64 bits. Wherever 32 is there, I'm replacing it with 64. Wherever 31 is there, I'm replacing it with 63. So now guys, can you tell me the answer for this? Minus 2 power 63. I don't want it in terms of powers again. I want it in terms of numbers. Guys, I want it in terms of values, not in terms of e powers. I want it in terms of values. I know most of you would be giving me the answer in terms of e powers, but I want it in numbers. No, no, I don't want it in that way. I want it in terms of numbers. Perfect set of numbers. Yes, can anyone come with the answer there? Guys, I don't want it in e powers. I don't want it. I want it in terms of values. So Vishal has given me a value. Can you guys check whether he's correct? So guys, the power 2 value, what is it? Vishal, can you cross check your answer once again? Can you cross check your answer, Vishal? Guys, what's the answer? Be quick, yeah. Come on. It's another aptitude question, huh? That people. Okay, let me give you the answer there, people. So, one second. Yeah. So the answer for this happens to be 922337684775808. So this is the value that we are going to get. So in terms of positive, it is going to be 7. Am I completely clear with this? This is the size of the int long data type. So example for this, we would tell it as population of India I have given. So we can tell it as population of world. Wherever India is there, I'll replace it with world. Clear with this, everyone? People, is it clear about the integer type data? Yes or no, guys? So there can be a question in your interview that they will ask. So why do we have four types of data types to represent integer type data? Why do we have four data types to represent integer type data? Looking at the explanation that I gave you just now, can anyone confirm and tell me what is the reason for it? Can anyone tell me what is the reason for that? To reduce the size, to save memory? No. Guys, if you see here, it's quite very clear. So we are having various different segregations that are available in the real world. Okay. So the type of data is varying in the real world. The age of a person, can I store it in short? Yes. Again, what will be the case? Memory wastage. Salary, can I store it here? Yes, I can do it. What will happen? Memory leakage. Population of India, can I store it here? Yes, what will happen? Memory leakage. Or memory wastage also I can tell. So since we are having varying type of data in the real world, I will give the note here. Note, since we have varying type of varying now data in real world for integer, we use four data types to represent four data types to represent integer type type real world data so that the memory is used efficiently, Clear with this, everyone? Got the clarity why we have for various different types of data when it comes to integer? Yes or no, people? Yes. So first you should tell that the data that you are dealing with integer in real world is varying. So only we are using four different data types so that we are avoiding the memory wastage. Ultimate answer is the memory saving itself. But the way you portray the answer is also important. Okay. So you go for a hotel, guys. I'll tell you a simple example. Go for a hotel. Okay. You want to eat dosa. Okay, you want to eat dosa. If he gives dosa in any shape as he wants, will you be happy with it? Will you be happy with it? That is what my question is. Now whichever hotel you go, you will get the dosa in a proper round shape, or he will give it in a properly decorated way. If you don't just decorate, if you just put one dosa on the plate and throw some chutney on it and give, so will you be happy? No. It is because you will get impressed. The first impression that you get onto that dosa is by the way it is being portrayed in front of you. By the way, ultimately you are eating dosa, guys. Whether he decorates and give or whether he does not decorate and give, dosa is a dosa itself. Ultimately, if you don't decorate, the taste will not change. If he decorates, the taste will not change. Ultimately, the taste would remain the same. But the way it is being portrayed is very important. That is what happens in your interviews also. Though you are telling that you are saving memory, but if you tell it in this way, saying that, see, in the real world, the integer type of data is varying as we have various, ways in which we can represent it. We have salary, which can come under so and so category. Only that much is sufficient. Age, this much is sufficient. So whenever we are having minimal set of data, we need to have such a data type which can give only minimal memory for us. So that is the reason we are going for data types, where we are having 4 different ways to represent integer data depending upon the memory that they consume, so that there is no wastage of memory. If you tell it in this way, for just a small question, if you give an elaborate answer, that will impress, that will have a proper way to pitch in with your answer to the interview. I hope I'm completely clear on this. Yes or no, guys? Guys, can I get a response? Hope you understood what I was trying to tell you guys. Yes? Great. So now what I want you to do is I want you to quickly copy down this. This is very important for you to know, guys. Okay. So you can start copying from here. Be quick. Okay. I suggest you to do it at the earliest. Okay. So quickly jot down the things, even if it is like a rough notes or something. Later on, you can prepare the actual notes. So in today's session, we would be just dealing with some of the theoretical aspects. But if from tomorrow's session or from the next week's sessions, we will be dwelling on to few important set of programs. Okay, those programs are very important, guys. So I would be making you aware about some of the most frequently asked interview programs, so that you will get an exposure as how do you tackle up the programs. Okay. Okay, so if everybody have copied, can I go forward? Okay, I want a confirmation from everyone. Without that, I cannot go ahead. Okay, fine. Since we have confirmation from multiple people, I'm proceeding ahead with the things. This is with respect to integer. Okay, so now integer type real world data. So now let's get into another real world data, that is the real number type real world data. So this was integer type real world data. This is real number type real world data. Here I am dealing with a real number. Real number which is nothing but your decimal number or decimal number. So what are the ways in which we can represent it? There are 2 ways in which we can represent it. One is float, other one happens to be double. One is float and other one happens to be double. So float means what, if you ask me? Float is going to occupy, 4 bytes of memory, 4 bytes of memory, which is nothing but, I will tell it as n equals how much? It is equal to 32 bits. Okay. What about double? Double occupies 8 bytes of memory. And the value is going to be 64 bits. Okay, so whenever we are trying to represent real number type real world data, so we are going to deal with a format in which we can represent it. So now one thing I want you guys to clearly understand, that the system which is giving you some responses. Okay, so if you have to give an input to your system cannot understand what you're talking. Okay, what your system can understand is only zeros and ones. Only zeros and ones is what your system will understand. Okay, if you have to give that zeros and ones, you have to convert that into a particular format, into that format. So how will you do that conversion in terms of integer? In terms of integer type real world data, we use something called as the base 2 format. We use the base 2 format to represent the integer number in terms of decimal number, in terms of zeros and ones. Here we use something called as IEEE format. to represent the real number type real world data in terms of zeros and ones. Why it is important to represent in zeros and ones? Because your system can understand only 0 and 1. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? Yes or no, people? Excellent. So this is with respect to real number type real world data. Okay, so I'm not dwelling too much deeper into this. Okay, the next one happens to be character type real world data. Character type real world data. Type real world data, which is going to be represented in, you know, ASCII or UTF format. So what does ASCII stands for? ASCII stands for ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. American Standard Code for Information Interchange. UTF happens to be Unicode Translational Format. Unicode Translational Format. What is this ASCII and UTF? These are the tables that is prepared in order to represent the byte value of, or the bit value of every single character. So this character type real world data in reality occupies 2 bytes of memory. 2 bytes of memory in Java. So let me represent it like this. So UTF, it is not UTF, UTF occupies 2 bytes of memory, whereas ASCII occupies only 1 byte of memory. 1 byte means you already know it is minus 128 to 127 is the maximum size that it can occupy. Am I completely clear with this, everyone? Yes or no, guys? So that is in terms of numbers, but still. So the number of bits that you are going to get here is 8-bit representation whenever you are dealing with ASCII. But when it is UTF, 2 bytes means 16 bits. So you're going to get 16-bit representation here. Okay, let me add that. So memory. So this is going to be 8 bits representation. It is going to be 8 bits representation, whereas this is going to be 2 bytes of memory. It is 16 bits representation. It is going to be 16 bits representation. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? So this is about your ASCII and UTF. Clear on this? So integer, real number, character. These three, I hope everybody are clear with this. Yes or no? It's UTF. Yes, yes, I've changed it. IEEE happens to be a standards that is kept for representing the data. I'm not dwelling into that representation because that is again in-depth concept that we will be dealing with. So I'm not dwelling on to that. Okay. So for now, what is ASCII and UTF? ASCII and UTF happens to be the tables that is prepared to represent each of the characters. In your ASCII table, you will be getting the characters like capital A to capital Z. You will have small a to small z. You will have 0 to 9. You will have special characters. Special characters. Okay, so totally you will be having 128 symbols. You will be having 128 symbols in your ASCII table. Okay, so next, when it comes to UTF, okay, it is going to contain the same these things. Along with this, characters from all regional languages. Characters from all regional languages put together, you will have 65,536 symbols. 65,536 symbols is what you're going to have when it comes to your UTF format. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? Yes. So ASCII and UTF are the major formats that is being used as of now. Okay. ASCII, anyways, it is not that widely used. UTF is the one that is more widely used. Normally in your HTML also you will be seeing UTF-8, it will be coming. All those things. So UTF means it is a translational format that you are having. Clear with this, everyone? So Chandana wants me to scroll up. Can you please copy up from real number till UTF quickly so that once you're done, we can proceed ahead with the next type of data type. Everyone done? Okay, great. I see that everybody are copying simultaneously together. Okay, great. So the next type of data or next data type that we are dealing with happens to be Boolean type real world data, or you can tell it as yes or no, true or false type real world data. In many of the cases, you will be coming into a scenario where you are representing the things in terms of yes and no, true or false kind of things. So in order to represent these things, you have something called as Boolean data type. Boolean data type. In terms of Java, it is represented as true and false. True and false. So these are the things that is available because Boolean happens to be very, very important in performing any of the conditional tasks. Okay, Boolean data type plays a very important role. So this is about your Boolean data type. These are the four I mean to say, yes, the four important data types that you should be having a clarity about. Okay, so be quick. I hope you have already copied it, but still I'll give you a minute of time. So today's class, as I told you, it will be a complete basic set of things. I'll be setting your basics up and right. Okay. So once your basics are up and right, then writing on the program should be a cakewalk for you. So how many of you already know Java? At least the basics. How many of you know to write at least a hello world program in Java? Can you just comment? At least hello world program you should be knowing. Only those people raise your hands. If you don't know, no problem, guys. Only the ones who knows can come over. Guys, programming, whether it is in Java or Python, the logic would remain the same. Okay, you just need to change the syntax. That's it. We are making it in Java here because Java would be little easy for everyone to understand. Okay, so that's the reason we are going ahead with Java. Because see, most of them already know something about Java. Some of them don't know. Some of them have learned only small few things. Some of them have learned something more. So that's why Java would remain would be the ideal language to go on with. Okay, great. No problem if you don't know. I will help you out in that. Okay. So is the data types clear to you all? There are four different data types that you have to know. So which I have done just now. Is it clear to everyone there? Okay, great. So now let's take up the next thing now. So this we learned with respect to, I'll tell it as intro to data type. Intro to data type is what I've saved it as. Okay, so I'll create another text document, so which we will be taking for next important concept. So we were supposed to study data types, which we have completed. About the programming on data types, I will be telling it to you. So now let's come and understand the syntax syntax for writing a hello world program. A hello world program. So syntax to write a hello world program. So what is the syntax for writing a hello world program? In Java, I will tell. In Java, in terms of Java. So in Java, everything we are going to write it inside a class. You should be knowing that. I will tell it as class. I will tell it as program one. I will open the flower brackets. Within that, I need to tell the main method. So I will tell it as void main. And this main method is accepting some parameters called as string arguments, which is an array. About that, you'll get the clarity later. So next, inside this, from the system, I'm going to generate an output which will be printed on a new line. The output is going to be hello world. Am I clear? I repeat it again. From the system, I'm going to generate an output which will be printed on the screen in a new line, and the output happens to be hello world. The output happens to be hello world. I'll tell it as hello world. Okay, so this is the output. This is the way we are going to write the things in your Java. But if you write the same thing in Java, it will give you a error. How? If you ask me, I'll show it to you here. I'll even teach you how do you create the a program, how do you run the program, all those things I'll help you out with. Don't worry. I'll just tell it as program one. Okay, so now by default you will be getting one syntax as public class. You can here also mention it as public. Public means giving visibility to everyone. Okay, public class program. So I'll tell it as this one we are telling about the main method. Okay, so now the same syntax whatever I have written here, I will copy and paste it there. I'll copy and paste it here. So as soon as I copy and paste it, now I need to execute this program. Okay, I'm going to execute. So the selection cannot be launched as there are no recent launches. Okay, fine. So I'll right click on this. I'll tell run as. Okay, we don't. Okay. Now, why is it the other way around here is whenever you're trying to execute a main method in Java, there is some additional requirement that you should be specifying. Not just the class has to be public, even your method should be having the public access, and not just that, it should be made as static for a reason. Why it should be made as public? Firstly, so public it is because to make it visible to the OS, which is nothing but your operating system. Operating system. Why it should be made visible to operating system? Made visible to operating system as the operating system is the boss of the computer and all tasks will be executed through the operating system. Just because of this particular reason, we need to make the main method as public to make it visible to operating system. Just by making it visible, is it sufficient? No. The operating system should even be able to access it. Okay, I will tell it as static to make it not just visible, to make it accessible to the operating system. So this is another reason, okay, why we have to make it as static. So there is one more reason to make it as static, that is to execute the method, the main method, without without object creation. Without object creation. What do you mean by without object creation? In Java, everything has to be executed as an object except for your main method. Every single thing else should be created an object and then the execution should happen. But if you make it as static, you will be able to access this main method without creating the object. That is one more reason. So why do we make it as void? Why is it made as void? Void means, you already know, void means no return value. Void in English means nothing. So that's the reason we are telling it as no return value. Next, main. Main means what? Main means it's the name, expected name of the method by the operating system. Only if the method name is main, then the operating system will begin the execution from there. Am I completely clear with this? That is the reason in your program we should be having the main method. Clear with this? So here I will tell it as public static void main. So I'll just try running it. If I tell it as run as Java application, you will see the output here as hello world, hello. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? Yes or no, people? So I hope you were able to see the output clearly there. Harish, that is a very uh, early question to be answered now. Okay. Okay. So now let me take up some of the questions. The questions that is there on the chat box. Okay. So we have some questions. Is Java and JavaScript different? Yes, they both are different. Java is a programming language. JavaScript is a scripting language. Why we have to write the program in the cluster? Because that is the expectation of your Java syntax, or that is the way the Java has to be written. Okay, Java program has to be written. Why do we have to write twice to print the output? You need not write it twice. Even if you write it once, it is going to work. Even if you write this once, it is going to work. So now notice, I'll run this. It is going to give you the output only once. If you want to print it twice, you can do it twice. Difference between Java and JavaScript. Java is a programming language. JavaScript is a scripting language which can be used for making the UI based changes. Difference between private and public. Now you tell me, what's the difference between private and public? Tarun, you can tell me the answer. It's quite very simple to tell. Private and public. WhatsApp, your WhatsApp is a private one. Correct? Your WhatsApp is a private property. Correct? But your mobile phone is a public property. Anybody can take your mobile phone and move around. But nobody can access your WhatsApp because it is private. I hope I am completely clear on that. So private means which cannot be accessed by any Tom, Dick and Harry. Public means everybody can have the access for it. Clear with this, everyone? Yes, if you make it as private, operating system will not be able to see it. Obviously, it will not be able to see. Yes, Chandana. Private means which is visible only within a given class, and public means which can be visible anywhere out, even outside the class. Okay. Is it clear to everyone there, people? Great. So be quick to copy this entirely. Once you're done, please let me know. So this is about the syntax of your method. So this is how we write your Java program here. Okay. So now the same thing, if I have to represent for your data types, how do I represent the data types? So now simple. First we saw about integer data, right? I will tell it as, first byte type A is equal to 127. So I need to print it. So what I will tell system, from the system, I will tell I'm generating an output which will be printed on a new line. And what has to be printed? The contents inside A is what I want you to print. So now if I run this program, what will be the output that I will be getting? Whatever is the value of A, that will be printed as the output. Okay. Similarly, you can even check it for by short as well. Short type yes equals or B only. Okay. Short type byte type B, short type yes equals. So I will tell it as 30,000. Okay. Now what I will do, this is B. Now I am going to print it again. What I need to print? I need to print the value yes. So if I run the program, see here 127 and 30,000 is available here for. Am I clear on this, everyone? Yes or no, people? What is string of arcs? String of arcs, I will be telling it to you in tomorrow's session, not in today's session, Tarun. Okay. So this is about your short. Same thing, you can do it with int type I equals, I will tell it as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will tell. So is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 available inside int? Yes, it is available. So I will paste it here. So I'm going to represent it as I. If I run it, so you can see there 127, 30,000 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is what is available. Now I'm coming for long. I will tell it as, long type L equals. So I'm going to tell some number 98886788888. Now if you see here, this is a data that I'm going to represent. So why is it giving me an error? Yes, why is it giving an error? Why? Because this data, whatever I had represented, it was basically being considered as integer data. But integer data cannot accommodate this value. I even told you when some of them gave me the example for integer as, see, for integer, when you gave me the example as phone number, I told you phone number cannot be there because see, it is starting from 2, I told. Yes, got the clarity on this, everyone? Yes, that is the reason I am writing here the phone number. But I need to make it to belong to the long category. So at the end, I'm going to tell it as L. Whenever I specify it as L, it will be considered as long type of data. So now if I just paste it here and tell it as L. So what will be the output that I'm going to get? See, I'm going to get that particular number as the output here. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? Same if you have to do it for float, type F is equal to, I will tell it as 567.678 F is what I need to tell. Why? Because whenever you specify the keyword as F, only then this number will be considered as a floating point number. Else, it will be giving you an error because it will now be considered as a double. So double cannot be changed. I know cannot be stored inside float because double is of 8 bytes and float is of 4 bytes. So I will tell it as F. So now if I print it here and tell it as F, what will be the output that I'm going to get? I'm going to get that respective value here. The same thing for double. I will tell it as double type D equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.87896, something like this. I will tell. So I need not specify any F here because it is being considered as double. Now I will just paste it here and tell it as D. So now if I run this, it is going to give me the output as that particular value. Am I completely clear on this, everyone? Yes or no, people? Okay, good question, sir. Can we use uppercase for F and L? Use uppercase, it will still not give you an error. Use the uppercase, it will still not give you an error. In fact, you even execute, it will even consider that. Okay. Yes or no, people? Got the clarity? Tarun, again I'm telling, don't compare two languages. Okay, please don't compare. Okay, Java is an independent language, Python is an independent language. Okay, so both of them are completely different, Tarun. Don't compare both of them here. Okay, clear with this, everyone? Got the clarity on this program there? People, can I get a response? Okay, please copy this program quickly, guys. Be quick. Copy this program. Okay, so with this introduction, we would be ending up today's particular session. That okay. So since it is the first day on the technical side, I don't want to take you into too technical aspects. Okay, so we would be continuing with the technical sessions in tomorrow's session. Okay, so tomorrow it will be for complete 2 hours. Okay, so it will be pure on programming side, so you need to be attentive in the session, and I see many of them joining living, so please ensure that you have a stabilized network, and please be available to take up the things. I'll even help you with the installation as well. Okay, so the time will be communicated to you. Okay, so is that fine to everyone there? The timing will be communicated to you, don't worry. Okay, so I hope you were able to understand or you had some takeaway from this particular session. Yes or no, people? So, great, thank you. So, you will have more of informations coming on to your end as we dwell into the programming aspect. Okay, so let's wait for the things to happen as and when it is scheduled. Okay, I will ensure that I deliver the best programs, and the knowledge is what is important. I'll ensure that I'll give up that particular knowledge to you guys. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. We'll continue off with the things in tomorrow's session. Okay. Thank you so much, people. Thank you.